Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie and this is Kitty Stitch. It's a place where I like to talk about cross stitch and all of the other things that I like to make. So hope you are interested and stick around. Today we have a very special video and that is my end of year Wip Parade. So I'm going to be showing you today all of the projects that I am bringing into the new year of 2026 with me and things that I have touched and worked on throughout the year of 2025. We will talk about any of the goals that I might have for the project, any of the progress that was made over the last year or so, and it'll be a great way to look back at the end of 2026 and see what projects we have left, what we've done. I know right now there are quite a lot of these Wip Parade videos out there on the market right now, so if you are new here, I just wanted to reintroduce myself. Like I said, my name is Maddie and this is my YouTube channel, Kitty Stitch. I mainly talk about cross stitch, but I do also talk about some of the other things that I like to make. That can be knitting, sewing, junk journaling, beading, really whatever I can get my hands on and make and create is something that I'm interested in, typically within the realm of fiber arts. So that is kind of what I show here on this channel. Personally, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm 27 years old and I live here with my husband, our two cats, one of which is named Kitty, and the naming behind this channel, she was my and she's hitting the tripod now. She heard me talking about her. But she is the naming behind this channel and was my very first pet that I got in college. And we've since grown our little animal family. Outside of our pets, we love to travel whenever we can. So in the past year, we took a trip to Mexico, the United Kingdom. We went to London, Liverpool, and Scotland, and then also Ireland on that trip. And we actually just recently got back from our anniversary trip in the Dominican Republic. So definitely love to travel. I'll also show a lot of the time the projects that I bring along with me while we're traveling over on my Instagram, which is kittystitch_. I share quite a bit there on my stories about what I am working on, and sometimes if I can get a good enough photo of the piece, I'll share it to my grid there as well. So I hope you'll check that out. I'll hope you like and subscribe this video, and let's go ahead and get into the projects. But like I said, we'll touch on the projects that I've been working on this past year cross stitch wise. So I have 8 different whips to show you here today that I will be bringing into the new year. We'll also take a look at my stats for 2025. I love to track my stitches, and end of year is a great time to look back on exactly what I have done throughout the year and what trends I'm seeing through the year. So we'll take a look at that. And we'll also touch on some of my goals going into the new year related to cross stitch and some other hobbies as well. But let's go ahead and get into the stitching. First whip, which stands for work in progress, that I will show you here today is my oldest whip. We'll go in reverse order. This is actually the only whip that I have left from 2024, and it's definitely a big one. It is Carnival by Jan Hicks. So here is where I am at on that. I'm stitching it on 40 count cream and sugar linen by Atomic Ranch, and I'm about 40% of the way done on this. So about 13,000 stitches remaining. This is one of my mom's favorites. She loves the colors. The colors are very much her. And this one is really fun to work on. So I'll insert a picture of the finished product here. The way that the chart is set up is kind of like different bands, almost like a band sampler, but kind of going different directions, or just different groups of coloring and of stitching, to where you can pull out one color and get quite a few stitches in before having to change colors, but you still get that fun of having a project where you're changing colors. So whenever I do pull this one out, it is very addicting. So that is where I am at on Carnival. With this being my oldest whip, I would love to get this one finished by the end of the year. I do really feel a pull to work on it in the warmer months just because the colors are so warm, but I definitely want to get this finished by the end of this coming year. So 13,800 stitches remaining, and I just think it is absolutely adorable. I'll show you each of the project bags that I'm keeping these in as well. This one is a me-made project bag using the Elizabeth Ann vinyl front project bag tutorial. And here it is. I actually made like 5 or 6 of these for all the girls that were coming to stay with me for StitchCon as a little table gift for them. So I used a black plaid in the back and then this really cute sewing related fabric on the, or I guess I should say the plaid was on the inside. This is on the back and the outside. Both of these I got at Joann's. And in this project bag, I actually have this adorable little container, I guess you could call it, that I'm keeping my flosses in. Here's what it looks like. And I stitched in the bottom there and then finished it into this cute little tray. And it holds the floss for this project perfectly, the amount of floss in there. So that just lives in the project bag with this. What also lives in that project bag is a chart, and that is Dreaming of Mums by Rosewood Manor. This really, the only reason it lives in here is because I plan on using the second half of that fabric for this piece, and I don't want to forget that. So, this has been a project that's been on my radar for absolutely forever. I probably should get this kitted up. It doesn't look like that many stitches. I mean, it is a lot of stitches for sure, don't get me wrong, but it also looks like a lot of back stitching too. But yeah, this one has been on my radar for quite some time. And again, I absolutely adore the colors. It's kind of similar vibes, I feel like, with all the bright pinks and oranges and yellows. But that is Dreaming of Mums by Rosewood Manor. Maybe if I get this finished this year, I'll allow myself to start this big kahuna as well. And I should have mentioned that was my whip from August 1st of 2024, and it is my oldest whip that you will see here today. The second oldest project that I have is what I call my pink French sampler. This one I started on March 21st, 2025, and it is from this French magazine, 2012 calendar of something, I'm assuming. Here's what it looks like. It's featured on the main cover photo there. Let's see if this will get you a better photo. There's what the finished product will look like. Like I said, I started this March 21st and I'm at about 30%. So only about 2,700 stitches remaining, but there is quite a lot of back stitch on this one, which will add to that number. It makes it feel like there's more remaining. Here's where I'm at though. Super cute. This was a chart gifted to me by my friend Megan of the Seattle Stitcher, and I started it in March. I'm using the called for flosses, and I just absolutely adore it. I actually found a picture of it on Pinterest and sent it in our group chat, and she found it for me, which was very sweet. So I really want to get some progress in on this one. It's not big at all, and I'm stitching it on 40 count vintage country mocha, and I think it's a great color for the piece. It will have some white in it, so I think that will pop really well. And I just loved all the pink, and anything with sewing and like crafting related motifs is right up my alley. So this is a really fun one, and I would love to get some progress on this one going into the new year too. There is Miss Kitty herself, but this is also in a project bag that was made by my friend Megan, and it's just perfect for the piece with it all the, oops, it's upside down, with all the pink we have going on. Next up is one of my favorites of the bunch, actually, I would say, and that is Charming Cow Sampler by Little Robin Designs. This one I started at Stitch North with a couple of my friends, Bridgen and Cam. Bridgen of the Museum Stitcher and Cam of Cam the Stitcher. And we started it on May 2nd with a color conversion that we got put together at Stitch North. It was so fun to put a color conversion together with the three of us while we were there. Here's where I am at on the piece. It's about 34% of the way there, about 5,521 stitches remaining, and it's on 40 count Golden Harvest linen from Atomic Ranch. I just think that these colors are so fun. I'll insert a picture of what the finished project will look like. There's this goofy little cow. The colors are incredible. We're going to sub out our initials for the initials in the piece, so that will be really sweet and a nice remembrance of the retreat, and the fabric is fun, the flosses are fun. I just really enjoyed this project. On it, I did switch out because I copied my friend Bridgen. She did some smear crosses right there on this little band portion. And so I did the same, of course, and I think it looks great. I love the way the blue pops. That is just looks awesome. And these are colors that I would have never put together, but they are just so fun. So here's our conversion. I know this is posted on my Instagram if you're interested in the exact details, but here's what the flosses look like. We did keep a couple of the DMC just because they were not used very heavily in the piece. So we kept 3 DMC, but there are the rest of the colors. This project is held in a project bag from my good friend Liz of Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. She made us these and gifted them to us at Stitch North, which was so sweet. So that is why I put my Stitch North project in this bag. The quilting on it is absolutely gorgeous, and I think this fabric is so fun. Someone also gave us these little cheese keychains or bag charms, which was perfect for my cow sampler. So yeah, I love that together. This next project was also a Stitch North start, and that is Moonflower by Hands to Work. So I started it just one day after the following or the previous piece, and it was on May 3rd that I started this one. I'm at 46% on this, and this is the project I was working on most recently. I took it on our trip with us because it's one of my only projects on 36 count, so I knew I would be able to see it a little bit better than my typical 40 count, but here is where I am at. This is another one that I did a full conversion on using mainly color and cotton flosses that I had already put together before going to the Evertotes retreat. But about 2,242 stitches remaining, 36 count Patriots blue linen from R&R Productions for the fabric. And this one is really fun. I'll insert a picture of what the finished product will look like. I bought this piece probably like in 2021 or 2022, and I always had just been obsessed with it because I loved this little goofy moon, and I just thought he was so cute, and I just really loved the piece, and I was scared to start it for some reason. And I had this weird thing going on with this project where I didn't want to start it, and I couldn't decide on what flosses I wanted, but I finally was like, you know what, girl, you're starting it. So that is what I did at Stitch North. And here is my floss ring for the project. It is mainly color and cotton, like I said. There are a few randos in there as well, but that is what it looks like. It's just was very much me. Like, I just kind of picked the colors based off of vibes, and I'm really happy with how it is looking. So I love this pink and the blue and the yellow. This pink here is really fun. This is Apricot by Forbidden Fiber Co. And I bought this forever ago, and I just wanted to use it in something because I loved the color. So yeah, it was kind of just a spur of the moment project to start. Um, And this one is held in a project bag that was gifted to me by my friend Cam while we were at Stitch North. And it is a Sheba Designs bag. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so me. I love the pink and green. I love the florals. That's what the back looks like. It looks so cute. And since I just love this project, I wanted to put it in this beautiful project bag. And here I have a little charm on there that says X Stitch that was gifted to me from someone at a retreat. It's so cute. And also inside the bag here, I have another project that I took with us on our trip and did not even touch, which is Scotland Santa by Mill Hill. I have not even started it, and I have my little travel stitching case from Tiger Lily Designs that is perfect to hold notions while you are stitching on the go, and it's magnetic. So in this, I literally, when I was traveling, I just had a little needle book, a needle minder, tweezers, scissors, a fabric clip, and that was it. And I would stick my scraps down in there too. So that is what the inside of my teeny tiny travel kit looks like when I'm trying to keep things small. This is absolutely perfect. Carrie gave us all these at StitchCon, which was so sweet of her. And that is Moonflower by Hands to Work. And we are halfway through the whips. This next project was my birthday start for 2025, and that is the Loose Feathers for the Birds series by Blackbird Designs. This is a set of 9 different charts that they stitch in a 3x3 grid on one piece of fabric. I chose my 4 favorite for my birthday starts and did a 2x2 grid, and I have done 2 of them already so far. And here is where I am at. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I'll bring it in a little here. I subbed out my initials throughout the piece and put the year that I stitched and turned 27 in. But this one, like I said, started the day before my birthday, actually. So June 23rd. It's on 40 count everything else linen by Mystic Fabrics, which is one of my favorite fabrics ever. I think it works just lovely for a ton of different projects, and I am 48% of the way there. So I guess those other 2 charts are a little bigger than these 2, but definitely want to have this one finished by my birthday this year. That's always a goal of mine, to have my birthday start from the previous year finished by my birthday of the following year, so then I can start another exciting project on my birthday and not feel guilty about it. And I have a big one planned this year for my birthday. But there is the Loose Feathers for the Birds series. I am stitching this, like I said, on that Mystic Fabrics, everything else linen, but I did get a color conversion from color, partially from Color and Cotton, set up for this one. My friends and I, Rachel of Lemonade Stitching and Elizabeth of Frizzy Lizzy Stitches, went to the Color and Cotton store a few years back, and so Rachel put together this color conversion while we were there, and originally we had only put it together for, I believe it was just for this chart specifically, and since I added on a few more charts for the piece, we had to get a few more colors. So I reached out to Color and Cotton, and they got the rest of the color conversion put together, and it is gorgeous. I love these colors. I love Color and Cotton flosses. They are just the best flosses, I think, personally. I actually did sign up for their fabric club this year. I'm so excited for their fabric club. It is the first fabric club that I've ever participated in, so I'll be getting a piece of 40 count linen in the mail every month in the Neutrals Club from Color and Cotton. So I'm so excited for that. I already got my first one, and it's beautiful. So that is going to be a great stash builder. And I either stitch basically on neutrals or pink, so I'm going to get a whole lot of use out of those projects. But that is my Loose Feathers for the Bird series. I'm excited to get that one done this year. Oh, and project bag is, I don't think I have anything else in here. Yeah. This one is another Sheba Designs bag. I believe this is like one of the only project bags I've purchased. Actually, that's a lie. I have purchased one more. A lot of them I just make. So, but this one I loved the little pins in the lining and then the hoops on the outside. I just think it's super cute. And again, like I said, I love crafting related items. Crafts about crafts are my favorite. This next project is absolutely gorgeous. It was released at Market this year, I believe, by Crossford Rise Stitchery, and that is Cicada Song. So it is just a gorgeous piece. Here is where I am at. I am at 46% on this. I'm using the called for flosses, and I'm stitching it on 40 count Dirty Porcelain by Evertotes. Started it on October 13th of this year, and I mean, it's just amazing. The border is so fun. There's all kinds of little critters hiding throughout the border, which is just making it so fun to stitch. I got a lot of the stitching out of the way with this gigantic house. That is what I worked on most recently. And I did sub out my name on the piece as well. So I did my full name, which is Madeline Page, and I am just obsessed with this. The DMCs are beautiful. Her color choices are just awesome. I love the little backstitched font with the full size font. I think that is such a nice touch, and I just love this piece. I feel like originally I thought it was kind of seasonal for fall, but like I feel like I could just work on this and enjoy this piece at any time in the year. And I adore it. It is held in a project bag that I made myself using a finished cross stitch piece, actually. So this is the Kindred Friends. It was the exclusive for StitchCon this past year, and I just finished mine into a cute little project bag. So that turned out really nicely, I think. It was my first time ever including stitching in a project bag. And then there's the lining. These are all just vintage fabrics that I got at my local creative reuse store. And this plaid very much resembles the plaid that Keepsakes uses for like all their shopping bags. So I thought it was perfect for my StitchCon piece. Next project is definitely very seasonal. It is a set of Dimensions ornaments that I've started working on, the city ornaments. And I have one finished at this point. There are 6 total in the kit. So here is the first one that I've worked on. It kind of looks like a finish, but when you look at the full piece of data, I have a long ways to go. So this one I'm at about 18% after finishing one of them, and I just adore them. I got them for as a Christmas gift in 2024, and it's my goal to have these finished by the end of 2026. So I'm planning on stitching one every other month to get the 6 done by the end of the month or the end of the year. So I love the French knots in the back stitch. I mean, Dimensions gold kits are just, there's something else. This one I started on November 12th. I'm using all the called for materials in the kit, and I cannot wait to get some more of these stitched. I think these will be relatively easy, hopefully, to fully finish as well. They come with a like template in the kit to help like cut out, and so it should be a pretty straightforward finishing process, and I think they will look absolutely beautiful on the Christmas tree in 2026, hopefully. This one I keep in a project bag that I made for myself with some Santas on it. I keep my holiday piece in here. So here is the outside and the lining. I must have actually, I think I ran out of this fabric. Yeah, that's right. So I only had enough to do the lining in the back like this, but the top lining is the Santas on this side. But yeah, it works great for me. I had originally made myself a project bag for holiday pieces, and it was like falling apart and things were falling out of it. So I remade a new one for myself, and this one is much better constructed. So I've definitely had some growth in my sewing skills as well. Last whip for you today is a relatively new release and new start. I started on November 14th, doing exactly everything I was called for because I could not change a single thing about this piece, and that is I Like Cross Stitch by Jan Hicks. So here is where I am at on that piece. I'm about 24% of the way done. Someone on Instagram has already finished this, which is crazy, and it looks so good. But I have about 14,000 stitches remaining myself, so definitely have a little ways to go. This is a top priority for me. I just adore this piece. I think it is so beautiful. It's so fun. And I have such a fun time working on it too. Again, this is another one where there's like little motifs hidden throughout that are just so fun to stitch, and like you almost don't notice what you're looking at until you're like stitching it and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a cute little teddy bear, which like, okay, he's perfect. I need a bag charm of him immediately because so cute. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites for the year as well. I'm keeping it in a samply stitched project bag that is kind of coordinating colors to the project, so that works perfectly. And all I've got in here is the called for flosses. That is all of the whips that I'm bringing into 2026 with me. 1 from 2024, 7 from 2025, and hopefully none of them will be remaining at the end of the year if I am lucky and play my cards right. This past year, I tracked my stitches quite a bit. It was my first full year tracking stitches. I started tracking in June of 2024, so I had like half a year to the end of 2024, but all of the information from 2025, which is really helpful actually, because it can help give me a better idea of what exactly I can get done or expect to get done in a month and in a year of stitching, just so I'm not like, let me stitch 1,000,000 stitches and I can only stitch 100,000 in a year. That would be crazy to stitch 1,000,000 stitches, but hey, I mean, maybe one day. This year in 2025, I actually stitched 153,411 stitches. That's awesome. That's crazy. Don't get me wrong. That's crazy, but that's awesome. I stitched for about 264 days out of the 365 days in the year, and I touched 41 different projects throughout 2025. that was awesome. I had quite a few finishes, of which were small because I love working on mill hills. So those are about 1,000 stitches each, and I got quite a few of those done this year. But still, 41 projects is awesome to have had my hands on. Averaging out at about 420 stitches per day for my stitches every day. So I know that, some days I'm not going to get any stitches in. Other days I'm going to get 1,000 stitches, but roughly about 420 a day. I feel like it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that number. It was cool to see what my best and worst months of the year were too. And it's funny because my best and my worst month were actually back to back. So February was my worst month where I had 7,383 stitches. March was my best month where I had 22,486 stitches for the month. So what is that? Literally 3 times as much. So I must have not been feeling stitching in February. And then in March, I was like, what am I doing? I love stitching. And then I got right back into it 3 times as many. So that is awesome. I do know that typically when I think about it in my head, I try to get about 10,000 stitches a month. I feel like that's a good way to, if I look at a project and I say, okay, that is, a 20,000 stitch project, I think to myself, okay, I would have to work on that for 2 months straight in order to get that done. And that kind of helps put myself back into reality of not starting so many giant things. Although that is something that I want to do, is have some more bigger projects on the go. I feel like what I've shown you guys today is a lot of bigger projects. And so that is a good feeling to be getting some work in on some of these big projects that I've had my eye on for quite a while. Kind of moves me into goals for 2026. These will be knitting related, cross stitch related, other crafting related. Like I said, one of my goals is the dimensions ornaments. So I want to get one of those done every other month in 2026 to have them done by the end of the year. So I got one done already, which gives me a head start, which means technically I don't have to have the second one done by the end of April. January, February, March, April. Yeah. So that's good. I kind of forgot about that because I was thinking I would have to have one done by the end of February, but technically I don't. But I could keep myself ahead of the game. And then I also started a SAL on Instagram. That's a yearly goal for myself. And I invited some other people to join in. And it's been getting quite a bit of participation, which is really fun. I am calling it a Year of Flowers SAL. And the chart itself is called Flower a Day by Carolyn Manning Designs. I'll insert a photo of what it looks like here. It is so much fun. It's inspired by a piece that she embroidered, a flower a day, and it looks, the original inspiration is amazing, and as is the cross stitch piece. A lot of people have finished this. It's been out for quite some time, but I'm really excited to get some progress in on that one throughout the year and see everyone else work on it as well. So if that's something of interest to you, it's definitely not too late to join. We've got all year to do it, so go ahead and join in still if you see the project and it's something that you would like to join. We're using hashtag Year of Flowers Sal on Instagram to share progress with each other. So that has been really, really fun. For knitting, I would like to have a goal of stitching no vanilla socks in 2026. Now that sounds a little crazy because I have stitched quite a few vanilla socks, but I feel like it was like something to fall back on and that I wasn't like really pushing and challenging myself to try other things. And so that is where it mainly stems from, is that rather than just sitting down and using the time to make another vanilla sock when I already have like 10, I want to use the time knitting to make something that's challenging myself, because that's one thing I really like about knitting, is that it really does challenge my brain. And I think it'll be fun to see what I can come up with and what skills I can acquire from not only knitting vanilla socks. So that is definitely a goal. I also have some goals for my English paper piecing. We'll touch on them a little because they're ever changing. But I do have a English paper piecing project that I am working on. It is a grandma's flower garden quilt that I started like maybe in September of this past year, and I've gotten very, very little progress on it. And it's just not something that I like pull out in my regular rotation. So initially I was thinking I would try to get 3 hexagonal flowers done in a month to have the flowers all done by the end of the year. I pulled this out the other night, and I think having 3 done in a month is a little unrealistic just based on the fact that I like to be able to work on other projects too, and I don't want this to take up too much of my time. So I think I'm leaning more towards 2 flowers a month, or maybe even 1 flower a month, but like really just keeping this project top of mind and not letting it like get pushed to the side. So I'll show you guys where I'm at with this if you're interested. I have 2 flowers done fully at this point. So here is the first one that I have done. Oops, there's one on the back there. Here is the second one that I have done. And then I have quite a few that I've like started to put together. So I have these 2 light pink ones that are started to be put together. This blue one is started to be put together. 2 orange ones that are started to be put together. And then this pink one was what I was working on. There's a needle literally stuck down in the middle there. Something about me is I'm going to stick my needle right down in the middle of it. Um, and then this one, which is what I was working on the other night, that made me think, okay, maybe not 3 months, but I do still love this project, and I do really want the finished piece. I love the fabric that I selected. And so just keeping it top of mind is something that is a goal for me going into the new year. And I will continue to show you progress on this too. Last thing that is not necessarily a goal, but just like an idea that I have is and this isn't like a fully built out idea yet, but a crafting notebook where it's like junk journal style of the projects that I did for the year. So for cross stitch project, maybe I put some orts in it and a scrap of the linen that I'm using and all the details about the project and my thoughts on it. Or maybe for a knitting project, I put the yarn label and some yarn scraps, or like my swatch or something can go in the notebook. And this will just be a fun way to keep track of everything that I'm working on throughout the year, including cross stitch, but knitting, sewing, whatever it might be that I make creatively. I think it will be really fun to look back on that for memories and to say, hey, this is what I made this year, but also as a reference of maybe I want to go back and make that again. And I have some more details about it and, information about the materials that I used to do so. So that's not fully built out, but I am really excited about this idea, and I think it'll be fun, and it'll be kind of ever changing as the year goes on, just based on whatever I am making and creating at that time. So yeah, let me know what your favorite whip is that I showed today, what you want to see me get the most progress on this year, and let me know how many whips you have going into 2026. I would be excited to hear that, and what you're most excited for, or what a resolution or goal is for yourself too. But thank you so much for watching this video here today. Again, I hope you like and subscribe to my channel for more content from me through the new year. I want to have a finished parade put up at some point because I have quite a few finishes that I can show you guys that I'm hiding. So if that's something you're interested in, like and subscribe. But I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm gonna go. But bye. Thanks so much for watching.